Welcome friends in Science Lecture 2, Lesson 1st, that is matter in our surrounding. Right? We are going to in today's topic, we are going to learn states of matter. So in states of matter, as we know, there are basically given in your book, there are three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. In present era, we are actually learning 5 states of matter, that is solid, liquid, gas, plasma and BEC, that is Bose-Einstein condensed state. Plasma and BEC are going to come at higher level, that is higher standards. If you are going to take science, they are going to make you learn these topics also in detail. Presently we are going to focus on states of matter as solid, liquid and gas. Today as I have made a table requiring the different properties of these three substances in form of a differences. So in a form of a chart, as you are seeing on your screen, the different properties, as we are going to start and discuss each of the properties likewise. First is a shape. So as we know that the shape of the solid, any of the solid that you take, whether the mobile phone that you are having it is a solid substance, does not change, right? If you put into a glass or a big glass, or you put inside your any utensil, big utensil, the shape of the mobile phone does not changes. Like the marbles that you play, you put inside a glass or you put inside a big utensil, another utensil, then also the shape of the marbles do not change. So such type of solid substances retain their shapes, that means they are having a definite shape. In terms of liquid, they are not having a definite shape, right? But they take the shape of the container. That means if you put inside a glass or a beaker, it is going to take the shape, the same amount of water that you have taken in glass, now you are taking inside the beaker. So you are seeing that it is taking the shape of a beaker, right? If you are taking in a big utensil, then also it is taking a shape of the big utensil, does not change. So what makes us understand that the shape of the liquid substances like water, if you can take and see that it is not fixed, right? But it takes the shape of the container. Now in case of gases, definitely they are not going to have their definite shape. The amount of gas we are holding in some container, if it is getting released, it is getting diffused inside the entire room. Like the perfume that you are having, if you spray this perfume, it is basically filled inside a small container. When it gets leaked out or sprayed out, it gets continuously dispersed inside the entire room. So what this phenomena suggests, that the gas does not have definite shape. The another property that we are going to take is about volume. Now if I take in terms of volume, volume is also very fixed thing in terms of solid. That means, as I told you, the volume of the solid substances does not change at all. Like the glass you are taking, the glass is having a fixed volume of 200 ml, does not make change with respect to its shapes and its amount of volume, right? So the volume that is contained inside the solid or itself in the form of a solid does not change. In terms of liquid, also the volume is not changed, right? Now you are taking, I will give you a simple example of milk that you are bringing it from your vendors, that is a 500 ml bag that we are carrying. If you are taking a 500 ml bag and you are putting inside a big container, does not make it 5 liters, right, or fills the entire container. It remains 500 liters only, the shape is changed, but the volume is 500 ml fixed. In terms of gases, it is not definite, right? Because as I told you that it is filled inside a small container, and if it get diffused, it get diffused inside the entire room. That means this particular particle has the capacity to diffuse. So they are trying to cover the entire space, that is an entire volume, right? So this is a thing that we are seeing. Incense stick also that is been burned, and it is having a small amount of flame in a corner of the room, but it spreads inside the entire room. That means they have a capacity to fill up the volume of the entire space that are having in its surrounding. The third property that we are going to take is compressibility. Now compressibility in terms of solid is extremely less. That solids are very less compressible. Any of the solid can hardly be compressibility of liquid is very low, right? As compared to solid, it is slightly higher, but in terms of gases, it is very low. Now if I just give you a simple comparison, that if I rise the pressure, that is atmospheric pressure, that is we are having on us is 1 atmospheric pressure. If I increase the pressure to 1000 times also, I can hardly compress out of 1000 liter of your tank, water tank, I can hardly compress 4 liter of water, which is extremely low amount of compressibility. Even the other liquids like or heavy oils and all are very less compressible. That's why we are using these liquids in terms of hydraulics. Now as far as the gas is concerned, the compressibility of gas is extremely high, right? If you see, you can compress the gases at very high amount and fill it inside the tanks, right? So what we are doing, if I give you 1-2 examples, the common example that we are using nowadays is CNG gas. The CNGs are available on your petrol pumps. This CNG we bring it in form of tanks, and these tanks are compressible liquids. So what we have done, we have compressed this gas at a very high pressure and it has turned to liquid. So we are compressing. Its full form is itself CNG is compressed natural gas. The same way what the cylinders we are bringing at home are LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas. Now liquefied petroleum gas is nothing but again a compressed gas. This in CNG the gas is basically methane, but in LPG the gases are propane and butane also. They are highly compressed, and due to highly compressibility you can see that they have turned to liquid. Also the oxygen, the cylinders that we are getting are first liquefied from gaseous oxygen to liquid oxygen. So these are the certain examples of liquefaction of gases to liquid by compressibilities. So gases are very highly compressible. Now fluidity, if I tell, obviously solids are extremely less fluids, but I would not deny that they are not fluids, right? Like rubber and glass that you see are basically solid in shape, but they are called as pseudo liquids, and they are somewhat in fluid condition. Even the other ornaments and all, if we keep it for very long time, I would say they are slightly having a nature, but in overall idea it is extremely not fluid by its nature. But if we see liquid are, as we term as liquid only, we say them as fluids because they can flow, literally flow in our eyesight itself also. As far as gas is concerned, gases are extremely more high fluids and pass from one point to the other point at very large distances. So they are also count as can flow substances as fluids. Now as the next topic is density. In terms of density, if you see, the solids are having the one of the highest density. That means the molecules of solid substances or atoms of solid substances are extremely closely packed and they have hardly one dimension to oscillate. That means they are highly dense substances. That's why they have turned into solid substances. Now in terms of liquid, the molecules are still slightly apart from comparison to the solid state, and because of it they form in the form of groups and they slide over each other. That's why they are termed as fluids, and that's why the density is low. In terms of gases, either they turn to a single molecule or single atom, and they are highly movable with respect to each other. So just because of it, that density in that particular volume turns very low. Now intermolecular, the next topic is intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces are attractive forces between the two molecules. Obviously, as the density is very high, which suggests that the molecules are extremely tightly packed and they are having a very high amount of forces. In terms of liquid, the attractive forces are less compared to that of solid, but obviously higher than terms of gases. And lastly, in terms of gas, it is extremely low. The next is intermolecular space. The topic that is intermolecular, the property as an intermolecular space. Intermolecular space is the space between the two atoms or molecules. In terms of solid, the spaces are extremely less, right? Less than liquid, less than obviously than gas. But as we go to liquid, the spaces are larger compared to solid but less than gas. Intermolecular space between the gas is very high, right? So it is higher than solid and liquid, obviously. That's why these particles are having a good amount of space, can move very easily. Next is property is diffusion. As I told you that some of the solid has a certain capacity to diffuse, but this diffusion capacity is very low. Diffusion capacity is very low, but still we are able to see that when we form in the form of an alloys two different metals, they are in the solid form, that some of the metals has the capacity to come out and have the reaction capacity. So I would not say that it is almost zero, but I would say it is very low compared to liquid and gas. But in terms of liquid, the diffusion capacity, as we have seen in the last previous videos, that potassium permanganate, as we have put in the form of liquid, immediately it converts, it has the capacity to diffuse inside the liquid. So in liquid the diffusion capacity is higher. Like common example, if I give you, bring sherbets and you put inside the water, you see that it is getting diffused, this color is getting diffused inside the water very high, right? So diffusion capacity of liquid is higher compared to that of solid, but obviously low in terms of gas. And obviously in terms of gas, the diffusion capacity is highest. It is having the highest amount of diffusion capacity, as we have seen in examples. And once you light up the camphor inside your room, you are able to see the smell of the camphor getting spread inside the room very fast. The next property that we are taking, last property, is kinetic energy. Certain times when I ask students that which out of these three is having the highest energy, the answer differs. But actually the correct answer is gas. Gas is having the highest amount of kinetic energy. I will give you some example. Like if you take out the ice from the refrigerator and put on the pan and heat it up. When you heat up, you see that the ice starts melting and turns to liquid. So once it is getting the energy, it is getting heated up. So it is gaining the energy. That means liquid is having the higher amount of energy compared to solid. And in terms of gas, it is having the highest, because if you heat it more, it turns to steam. So steam is having the highest amount of energy. That means the gas is having the highest amount of kinetic energy. The second amount of energy is liquid, which is having lower than gas but higher than solid. And the solid is having the highest amount of least amount of kinetic energy. Now the examples as common we have given, all metals are generally solid by its nature. Salt, sugar, these are the certain examples of solid. And in common liquid are water as general example, petrol, diesel are common liquids which are available at room temperature. And in terms of gas, the common examples are carbon dioxide, the oxygen that we take in, and carbon dioxide we breathe out, nitrogen gas which is there inside the air, helium as a gas which are having. So certain gases are there, many of them are there. So these all gases are we see in the atmosphere, and others we don't see in atmosphere, but still it exists. So here we have learned the different properties of states of matter, of solid, liquid and gas. I hope so you have understood. We'll keep up till here, and next topic we are going to take it in the next video. Thank you.